So we have one here. We have another one over there on the right. You see the yellow over there? Another tram. So they come from this area. They go up these fields. It's not far, but the way is very steepy, so it helps a lot the people, especially older people. So Mrs. Bilota, you understand English?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't speak much Italian.
I'm in America for 65 years.
Oh my God! Now my Italian is this.
Oh, that's a good
We don't
one.
need to speak. We just do our gestures with our hands.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna steal that one now with that family. My Italian I've learned is this.
Oh my God!
That's
You know that big square over here in Lisbon? I don't remember that. I came over here a few years ago with my
Yes.
other son, and we live near that big square. They call it Rosillo. Or something.
Yeah, we're going there. So this is the center. Rocio is that square where we're going now.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
This is one called Restauradores. So this is the Liberdade Avenue that our big DX, the main X. If you go straight, you go to the river. There's a river.
Yeah.
If you walk straight, okay?
Yeah. We used to go over there, take the mini bus, go to Fatima, go
Yeah.
to the castle. Yeah.
So Rocio, the main square, is over there on the left. It has always been in Lisbon since the medieval times. One center of Lisbon. It was the marketplace. Yeah, we have in Portugal and Spain. There are a lot of open squares that are called Rocios, because it's like a flat place where you used to do your weekly market or monthly market. Okay, and from here you can see in front of us that hill on top. You have the Lisbon Castle, St. George's Castle. St. George's was the patron saint of one of the saints of the Crusades. So Lisbon was conquered last time by the Portuguese, by the Christian Portuguese, to the Moors in the 12th century. So our first king, Alphonse, in the 12th century, he conquered Lisbon with the help of the Crusades. He came from the north. Portugal was born in the north, in Porto area, Porto and Guimarães area. The name comes from there, Portugal, the port of chalk. It's more or less the translation. But was born in the north, and then the first king, Alphonse Henriques, Alphonse I, he conquered from the north. In 7 years he conquered Lisbon with the Crusades, because he didn't have a big army. So he needed the English, the French, the Germans, and so the St. George was one of their saints. So this is Rocio Square, where we are. Center of downtown. This is downtown. So this is the area rebuilt. All this area was rebuilt in the 18th century. After a big earthquake, probably, I don't know if you read about it or heard about it. We had what is known to be so far the strongest earthquake in Europe ever. Around 9 point. Some geologists say was 9.8, but more over 9 in the Richter scale. So it was very, very strong. Destroyed central Lisbon. 90% of the churches in the area was destroyed, churches, monasteries, but also affected many areas of Portugal, the south of Portugal, the Algarve coast, all the Mediterranean area. Destroyed cities like in Morocco, the city of Fez. They lost like 10,000 people there, died. So it affected all the Mediterranean coast. South of Spain, France, but of course it was in the middle of the Atlantic, so Lisbon was affected. A strong earthquake, and then a big tsunami that came from the river,
Oh.
that came from the Atlantic, and destroyed the rest. And then 3 weeks of fires. So they say Lisbon might have lost
Everything.
around between 80,000 people and 100,000. We don't know because many of the people they just disappeared under the because of the fires. So all this area was rebuilt
See you.
after that. So the earthquake was in 1755. So all this area. So the prime minister at the time decided to make open avenues for the horse carriages and make like a true modern city. On that period, it was rebuilt, and he had plans to rebuild most of Lisbon areas.
That's nice.
Yeah. So we can see the river Tejo, the Tejo or the Tagus in English. That is born in Spain and comes from during 1,000 kilometers and comes to the ocean here. So Lisbon was always a safe port. It's very old, the city. The settlement is known to be founded by the Phoenicians. This is 12th century before Christ. And he used to say, I'm sorry madam, but that Lisbon is older than Rome. Rome was founded in the 8th century before Christ. And Lisbon, the settlement itself, was founded earlier than that. By the Phoenicians, they say. So many people from the Mediterranean, they came here because Lisbon is a midway. Is if you come from Africa or America or others, it's the entrance of the Mediterranean. But also, if you come from the Mediterranean, is the entrance, is the first safe port if you want to go to the north of Europe or other directions. So Lisbon was always a trading port with safe waters and good weather. And I think lots of water on the hills as well, water sources, and a safe port. Okay, so you had it was a reason that it was developed. It was always an important city for the Romans when they were here, and for the Moors when they were here.
Do you have a lot of migrants come here?
Yes, since early times we had, Lisbon during the 16th century, the age of the discoveries, and you have paintings from that dated from the late 16th century. You see a lot of non-Europeans. You see black people on the paintings because there was a lot of trade. There was a lot of travels between Europe and Africa. The Portuguese went down, and then with Asia as well. So Lisbon was in the 16th century, especially before the expulsion of the Jews by the King Manuel. Lisbon was a trading center from people from north of Europe and north of Africa. So you see paintings with people, black people, for instance, riding horses and so. So there was always mix of peoples, but we had a lot of immigrants, especially from Africa. We had the Portuguese colonies. We had Angola, Mozambique, until the 1974, when we had the revolution for the democracy. So we had all these colonies in Africa. Before we had in India, we had Goa, 3 cities, Goa, Damau and Diu, that were taken by India in the 1960s. So there were, when they became independent, all these colonies, many Portuguese resident there, European Portuguese or non-European Portuguese, they came to Portugal. So we have I remember 1974, 1975, there were like 1 million people coming from the African colonies.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, to Portugal. And now, the last years, of course, we have a lot of migrants coming from Asia, like they're coming to Europe because they are working, doing things that the Portuguese and because the wages are low, some of the Portuguese don't want to do, so they do. And there are a lot of Asian people, but it's safe, a safe society.
Is this a church right here?
This is the Lisbon, the old Cathedral of
Oh,
Lisbon.
it's beautiful.
When in the Moorish times, it was the main mosque of Lisbon. But when the first King Alphonse conquered Lisbon, of course, he needed to Christianize the city. So, on top, he built this cathedral on the 12th century. Okay.
There's a lot of Americans that moved to
Yes.
Portugal and Lisbon too, right? I mean, did
Yes,
they have
a lot now because safe country, a small one in the edge of Europe, so nothing happened so far. We've been lucky. We've been lucky enough. The weather, the climate is quite good, so so far no big fires or floods or something. Or the temperatures are quite good. So
did the Americans have a neighborhood that they live in, or
no.
No?
The French have, and the English have many years ago. But now, with a lot of Americans coming, no, I think the Americans like to mingle with the Portuguese and find nice places and
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think they say the cost of living is pretty good too.
yeah. The cost of living is good.
Oh, yeah. I bought a beautiful silk
Pois dá para
dress.
voltar de volta, não é?
That dress
Dá-
is so cute I bought yesterday.
Okay, this is a good viewpoint. We first go up there to the highest viewpoint of Lisbon, one of the highest. Then we come down here. So in this area, you are now in the old neighborhood, the oldest neighborhood of Lisbon, Alfama, which is an Arab word that means Al Haman. The Hamans are the baths, the thermal baths. So this means that in this area, and one of the reasons it was the oldest neighborhood of Lisbon, oldest district, there was water sources, both hot water and cold water sources. So that's where the name comes from. And it was this first area between the castle is here on our left. We don't see from here. We will see from the other side. Between the castle and the river. But yeah, you have nowadays many Americans coming because you have a quite good cost of living for yourselves.
Even Italian people think they move over here to stay. Italian people.
Yeah,
I saw in the news.
yeah, many. I think people like we have a quite our society. I think with all the turmoils, of course, we have problems in here. The Portuguese have a lot of problems. Some undergoing problems in Europe, like unemployment, like lack of teachers, lack of doctors, and things like those. So things are not working very well. But for a foreigner, you see a quiet society. We go well together with all the people. We are not, we as a people, we don't complain much. For instance, if you go to the streets to a manifestation, almost there are no fights like in Spain. In Spain, they are always fighting. If you go, they go to the streets. This is, I think, one of the reasons we never had, for the last century, I think, never had these big problems. We didn't join the Second World War, so it was quite pacific. Even our dictatorship until 1974 was not as hard as the Spanish or the Italian or you know. So it's quite a calm people. Yeah, we don't fight much. This is good, but sometimes this is bad because we should fight more.
How was it here during COVID? Did everyone have to stay home?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
For 2 years or almost 2 years.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
it
we
was
did. Here. I think it was like everywhere else. We had to stay home, wear the masks.
Did they have to have the vaccine after when they came?
Yes, we had to be vaccinated. I was vaccinated like 3 times. I can't remember. 3 times, yes. And we had one of the best policies, vaccination policies ever. We had first there was a minister of health, and it didn't work, so the government hired a military, a guy from the Navy. He was not a general, a colonel. I can't remember what was his rank. General. Well, he took over the operations of the vaccination, and it was fantastic, amazing how things worked after that. So it's like a case study.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened if the people didn't want to get vaccinated?
In many places, I remember, if you didn't want, you couldn't enter the places, like the coffee shops or others. You need to have your test, your permission, you know, your confirmation that you were vaccinated. Yes. Otherwise, you couldn't enter any place. So you have this digital certification.
Oh, they had the digital passport.
Passport, yes, this.
And did the people accept that?
Yeah. Some people fought that idea, but I think the majority of people they accepted that. Of course, there are still people that don't believe and refuse to be vaccinated, and now they say, "Okay, I was right not to be vaccinated." Okay. We all know too many people that died or become very ill because they were not vaccinated. Others that nothing happened to them, even they were not vaccinated. Yeah, all kinds of situations, all types of situations.
Yeah.
You know, so. But that's a bit past, even though there is COVID around, but people don't care. You just take your medicine, your paracetamol and so, and it goes. Okay, we are this place, one of the best viewpoints of Lisbon. Okay, we're going down, we're going out here. Okay.